Welcome to I'm Too Busy, an interview-based show hosted by a talented makeup artist, Christina Flach. Christina offers viewers a unique blend of personal stories, inspiring journeys, and practical beauty tips. Join the conversation as Christina features successful individuals from various industries who share their insights on health, wellness, makeup, and the keys to their success. So now, please welcome the host of I'm Too Busy, Christina Flach.
Hello, welcome to I'm Too Busy. I'm your host, Christina Flach. Today we are sharing an extraordinary story of a transformation that proves it's never too late to change your life. Our guest turned a doctor's dire warning into a complete lifestyle revolution, and then becoming Miss Alabama International 2024 and a Fashion Week model. Dana Bradley is a 48-year-old mother of two from Alabama whose life took a dramatic turn in March of 2020. Following a serious health wake-up call, she embarked on a transformative journey, losing 157 pounds through dedication to nutrition and exercise. Now, maintaining her weight loss for nearly 3 years, Dana has gone on to become Miss Alabama International 2024, a runway model Fashion Week and Paris Fashion Week in her immediate future. Her story is not just about physical transformation, but a complete renewal of mind, body, and spirit. Please welcome Dana.
Hi.
Girl, really?
Yeah, really.
Pounds. I love a before and after and a transformation, and you are like the queen of it. My gosh.
I know.
Amazing.
People don't believe it, but they have to see it to believe it.
It's amazing. So take us back to that doctor's appointment in March of 2020. What exactly was going on in your life?
Well, COVID was almost, my husband had to stop working and traveling in January. I had a doctor's appointment in March, and of course the schools were still in session. My kids were still in school, 13 and 16 at the time. I had a doctor's appointment for a checkup, and I went in, and the doctor looked at me, came in and said, your labs don't look great. You have all these health problems, and you're tipping the scales at 284 pounds. You're almost 300 pounds, and you're only 5'6". He says, you can leave your kids without a mom. And it was almost kind of like you threw water in my face and gave me a life sentence of death. And I knew at that point in time I had to change what I was doing. It wasn't working for many, many years. I was getting heavier and heavier. I had all kinds of health issues, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, back issues, gum disease, you name it, I had it. And I remember leaving that office and sitting in my car, and I broke down because I lost my mom when I was 14 years old. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1990 and died in 1991. She was only 50 years old. And here I was, 43 with a mom of a 13 and a 16-year-old. Here I lost my mom when I was 14 because she neglected her health. She put everybody else first before she put herself. And that's basically what I did. I was always doing for everyone else, but I was never really taking charge of my own life and my own health. And I remember just sitting there breaking down, crying, thinking I could not leave my kids. I can not be there for graduation, all the moments in their life, like the birth of their children, marriage, graduation from college, all these things were popping in my mind. And I thought, how could I be selfish than to not want to live for my kids? And so I had to make a change. And it was right then that it was like the bulb went off in my head. Like, this is happening. I got to do this now.
Wow, that's remarkable. I lost my mom. My mom was 42 when she passed away from brain cancer. And, obviously it wasn't her fault, but I totally know what it's like to lose a mother at such a young age. And I think for me, I went the opposite way that you've gone. I've always been a complete health freak and drinking the green juice, exercising, do all these things so I don't get sick. So I think that's kind of what happens when you lose your mother at a young age. You either, become, you eat for comfort, or you go the other way and just do everything you can to stay healthy. So I just applaud you so much for doing that. I know, what was it like those first few days of like, how did you put yourself on a diet? What did you do?
Well, I had to go to Walmart actually and buy me a pair of tennis shoes because I didn't have a pair to work out in. I remember going there and buying a $15 pair of tennis shoes, a pair of workout shorts, and a couple t-shirts. I didn't have any of those types of clothes. I was a mom. I was wearing jeans and sweats and all these kind of things, taking my kids to and from school. And I didn't have workout clothes. So I went to Walmart, got those, I got some bottled water. I ended up getting some vegetables, some fruits, some chicken. I thought, okay, well, this is where I've got to start. I then went home and poured out every single Coca-Cola I had. I was going through a case and a half to two cases within a day or two. I was
Oh
a
my
sugar
gosh.
addict. Sugar was my friend. I had to have that carbonation. I had to have that sugar rush, and I was drinking my calories. So I knew I had to start eating better. And I went to the camp pantry and threw away all the stuff I loved. I kept all the things that my kids loved, but I threw away everything I loved because I didn't want any temptation. And
Right.
I went home, and when I got there, I looked at YouTube videos. I thought, I've got to start a workout. I didn't have a treadmill, and I didn't belong to a gym. I don't like gyms just because I don't like people watching me. So I thought, well, you know what? And plus COVID was coming around. I knew things were starting to close down, and I knew that probably wasn't going to be a possibility. So I went ahead and started looking up YouTube videos and found a few and started to look at them and see, well, which one did I want to do? And I laid my clothes out the very first night I went to bed. The next morning I got up, got my husband's iPad, turned down that YouTube video, went in the living room before my kids and anybody else in the house woke up, and started my exercise regimen.
And how did that feel? Did it feel awful or did
The
it feel kind of good?
Well, I dreaded it. I was used to sleeping in the morning and hitting the snooze button, before taking my kids and making them lunch and getting them out the door. So I wasn't prepared to wake up 30 minutes early. The first 10 minutes into the video, I started feeling like I was giving out. I wasn't having a lot of energy. I just didn't feel it. And I pretty much sat there and I cried for the first few minutes after that. And like I couldn't do it. And that was just a word. Couldn't. I was making an excuse for myself, knowing that I could very well do it, but I just didn't want to. But I knew I needed to. Here in the living room, I was looking at the pictures of my family and my kids. They were everywhere. The bookshelves had picture frames on them, and I thought, these are my why. This is why I'm doing this. I had to get back up
Right.
and do it over again. And I completed that first workout. After I did, I thought, well, you know what? That wasn't so bad. I had to get over the pity party moment and pull up my big girl britches and go do it.
So what was the hardest part at the beginning? Like giving up the Coke and because you're so used to drinking that, like was that hard or
Yeah,
what did you
it was
miss the
hard because
most?
I woke up, I would wake up first thing in the morning and I would go straight to a Coca-Cola. That was my coffee. I wasn't
Wow.
drinking coffee. I was like, that was my
Right.
morning wake up drink. And the fact of just getting exercise and movement, it was trying to find just the energy to do that. And I had to reach in deep inside and know that I could not die. I had too many strokes before I was 35 years old, and I didn't
Wait,
want.
wait, wait. You had a stroke?
I had too many strokes before I was 35. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was right before my daughter's fifth birthday. I landed in the hospital. I was going numb and on one side of my body, and went to the ER, and they diagnosed me with having too many strokes. And I had two blood clots in my leg. And they said that I was very lucky that they didn't travel and cause me to die. Um,
Absolutely.
you would have thought I would have got myself right by then, but I just didn't have it in me. I didn't have the mindset of being healthy. I
Right.
blocked everything out. So
Isn't it remarkable how once you put your mind to it, there's one of my quotes that I have on my computer is, as soon as you decide that what you want to do, the universe just stands, out of your way. The mind is so incredibly powerful. Either way, it can benefit you or it can make you can tell yourself all this negativity and you don't believe it like you did at the beginning. And then once you decided, everything changed, right?
Well, I had to create a routine that could become habit, like brushing my
Hmm.
teeth, making my bed. I had to be able to do that every single day for a consistent amount of days before it really sank in that this was my routine. And then I started seeing the reflection on the scale each week. I started seeing myself feel better. And I was waking up and going to sleep better. I was having all these things happening in just a short period of time. And I thought, well, you know what? I can do this. This right here, I can do this. I was letting fear hold me back. I was overthinking a lot of things, and I just had to pause, breathe, and relax and trust the process that was ahead of me.
How much weight did you lose the first week? Do you remember?
The first week I lost 5.5 pounds. And that was a very big thing for me because it's hard for somebody to lose a half a pound or a pound. And here I lost a little over 5 pounds. I was like, wow, if I can do this consistently or get close to this each and every week, then I can see myself really, really changing my life. And here we are in March. I thought, well, summer's coming around. Maybe I can get into some nice clothes. And my husband and I were putting a pool up, and I thought, well, maybe I won't feel so bad sitting by the pool, and maybe I'll have that energy and just feel good and feel good about myself and have that self confidence and self esteem that I lacked for so many years because I was heavy, buried in a very big body.
So how long did you start like noticing, like when did you go buy your, like what did you treat yourself buying? Like the first like new pair of jeans, like did you do that like every time you got
Well,
down to
I
another size, or
I
how did you?
I never really truly went to shopping. When I did, I would go like consignment stores because I was dropping weight and I wasn't quite near my goal weight or close to it
Mhm.
yet, but I didn't want to waste money knowing that I was going to go down in size. And I thought, well, when I finally do get to a point, I'll get me some new clothes and I'll go from there. But until then, I went to consignment stores because I'm very thrifty, and I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money knowing that I was not near the end of my journey. I wanted to have more accomplishments and more non-scale victories that come with losing weight. My favorite store is TJ Maxx, and I went in there a few months after I lost a lot of weight, and I did go for a pair of skinny jeans. I had never wore a pair of skinny jeans in my life, and I tried them on with a pair of heels over there in the section and a top. And I looked in the mirror and I took a picture and I was like, wow, like this is me. I'm like, I went from a size 24 pants to a size 0 in 2 years.
That is remarkable. I mean, honestly,
And
I have not heard of anyone I mean, I've seen people go down to maybe a 10 or a 12, but I mean, to get down to a 0, do you
yeah,
feel like you're at your good weight now? Did you think you were going to keep losing weight? Like, did you know when to stop and go, okay, I'm
well,
good. I just need to maintain?
Well, the first year I was a little over 90 pounds, and I went back to my doctor. My doctor really didn't even recognize me. And he's like, you actually took what I said to heart. He said, I wouldn't be in business if everybody did what you did. And he said, I was close to 170 ish, 180. And he said, if this is all there is, then this is great. You've done remarkable. And I said, this is not all there is. This is not what healthy looks like to me. And there's a couple more goals I want for myself. So I did go ahead and set those goals. And I thought, well, around 135, 130, I think would be great because not a really tall woman. And I end up losing and getting down to 127. I'm standing still. I'm right where I'm at. If I gain a little bit due to muscle, I'm awesome, perfectly fine with that. I never thought I could be here. So I'm just glad that I have my health back and I have no health issues. I've
That's
just,
incredible.
yeah.
And bravo. I mean, I just applaud you. We are going to take
Thank
our first commercial break. I'm Christina
you. Okay.
Flach. I'm too busy, and we are interviewing Miss Dana Bradley.
Mike Zorich, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind sits birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorick, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorick has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. I'm Christina Flach. We are chatting with Dana Bradley and her amazing transformation. So Dana, tell me this story. Wait, what happened with the jeans that you fit your body into?
Yes, I had a pair of jeans. They were like a bell-bottom jean, and I had hid them in my closet because they were one of my favorite pairs. And when I went to go clean out my closet after losing so much weight, I got those pair out, and I thought, wow, like these are huge. I was going to donate everything, and I thought, well, one last time, I'm going to go ahead and see what they look like on. And I was able to put my whole body into one of the pant legs, and I took a picture of it. Yeah, I was just like, wow, my whole body fits into this one pant leg.
Side.
Right. And when I think about it, when I think about 157 pounds, I lost a whole complete person. But then again, I gained a whole life, a healthier life. So
it's so great. Yeah. What was the hardest thing to let go of eating or drinking, and what have you replaced it with?
First of all, my Coca-Colas, I've replaced it with unsweet tea and lemon and water. And as far as food goes, I loved fast food. I was really big into all the fried foods, potatoes, and all the comfort foods. And I had to learn how to replace those with healthier recipes. So I take a recipe that I used to use back in the day, and I create it differently using healthier ingredients, where I still have kind of like the same meal, but it's not fried. It's either baked or grilled, or it has different ingredients where it may have turkey instead of beef or something like that. I've been able to master that. I wasn't really big into a lot of donuts and things like that, but I have created recipes with healthier versions of that, with protein and things like that incorporate my healthy lifestyle.
Did your husband go on a diet as well? And your kids? Did it affect their eating?
Well, my husband, sometimes when you cook, it brings a family together, and not everybody's willing to jump in the boat when you are. My kids are pretty much healthy eaters anyway. They were always, pretty much, on the health kick of eating healthier. They will have their occasional fast food, but my husband loves food. And it was a little bit harder for him to adjust to it. So he's on his journey now into his healthy lifestyle. But not everybody's in the boat when you are. I just know that I had to. We had to make some sacrifices, but along the way, we made it work.
Did you see a difference in how people treated you before when you were bigger than now? So what was the difference?
I've had a lot of haters. I've had a lot of negative people, to come at me and try to judge my journey. They think they know it better than I do. I know my journey and my story. I've written every page of it. And society treats you differently when you are a thinner person. There were many times when COVID was not an issue anymore, we were able to go to football games. My daughter was a very big avid baton twirler with the band. We'd go sit there and watch her during halftime, and I'd sit there with my husband and my friend, and there would be people coming up talking to both of them, and they would ignore me, and I couldn't figure out why. And I would leave, and they would message me and say, I didn't realize that was you sitting there, Dana. You changed so much. I didn't recognize you. You look completely different. You look great, but you look completely different. I've had people approach my husband and ask if we have gotten a divorce because, did you marry somebody new? There's this new lady with you, and we want to know, did you get married? And so that was a very big challenge. My kids' friends were seeing me in a different light. I was always the big, heavy mom. My kids never saw a thin, healthy mom or a mom that had long hair. It was like I was totally transformed in a way differently for them they had ever seen. But people do treat you differently. People will come and support you, and people will come and be negative towards you. And I've used all the negativity that I've gotten to fuel my desire to be better, to fuel my desire to approach my goals in a different way. I remain kind and humble to people and show them grace when they don't need it or don't deserve it, only because I like to sleep better at night. And I know that's how my parents raised me. They had great morals and values, and they had a great legacy that carried on with them after their passing. And I'm creating my legacy. I want my kids to know how I am as a person and how I treat people. And not everybody's going to walk with you on the journey. Not everybody's going to support you. I didn't have the family support I really wanted. People, in my family, they didn't want me to change. They saw me looking different, and they were very self-conscious about it themselves, very insecure, and didn't know how to really approach it because mom was changing in such a way. But I'm still the same person. I just have a different outer shell. And I just tell people that it's important to have a good tribe, a good unit of people that support and lift you up. Without it in the journey, it makes it really, really hard. The person that I thank the most through my journey is God. He was with me every single day. He was my mechanism and my survival guide to being able to continue to do this. Very spiritual. It was a very spiritual, emotional, and mental journey. It didn't all happen physically. It happened in all those stages.
Right. How did your relationship with yourself change during this journey?
I loved myself enough to know I had to change. I loved the older Dana because I had the courage and the bravery to change. I was always a good person, a good mom, a good wife, a good friend, a good sister, a good aunt. But now I look at myself, and I've been able to give my family back many more years with me. I've been able to show others and inspire others through my journey that it's possible, that here I am, 48 years old. God, creates us. We live and then we die, except I forgot how to live. I was just pretty much stuck in park mode like you would have a car. And that day in the doctor's office, it ignited the fire in me. And right now I'm still burning because there's so much left in me, and nobody's going to extinguish it. They try to, but they can't, because I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of my own destiny. And I'm navigating the waters with God in the boat and my parents as co-pilots.
How do you think you overcame moments of doubt? I mean, were there days, I'm sure there are, we all have them, that you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I don't want to do it anymore.
There were many days, especially when the support wasn't there. There were many days when I was having haters come at me. I would have hateful messages. I would have people, message me from no numbers on a phone and tell me how ugly I was looking, and, how I didn't deserve to,
Oh my
lost the weight. I mean, I had a lot of negativity, especially, in the running community. I'm a very avid runner. I run 6 miles a day. I have, for many years now. That's my antidepressant. That is my drug of choice is running. I had a lot of hatred, and I had to
Now you
look.
do? You have that
I
now?
still, I still do. I still do. But misery loves company, and there's
Right.
always going to be somebody that wants to compete with you. I'm authentic. I'm not a copy. I'm confident in who I am and confident in where I'm going in life, because God is my captain, and He's made some remarkable opportunities, and let some remarkable doors open for me, and I'm running through them right now. People don't like that, and that's okay, but I'm happy where I'm at. My journey, there's never a finish line in my journey. There's always going to be something that you want to achieve that's even bigger and better, that you can say that you did. I want my kids to know that they can do anything they want to. I want women to know that they're not stuck. I want men to know that they're not stuck. We give so much to others that sometimes we fail and forget to self-love and give ourselves self-care. And
Right.
we really need to do more of that. And then we really need to do more as a society upon lifting others up instead of tearing people down. We don't ever know what someone's going through. And I always tell my kids, always treat others with kindness, because you never know what that one little thing that you can do or say is going to do to a person one day. They may need it the most. Society is, different when you look a certain way, and it shouldn't. And doors of opportunity would never have opened had I not lost the weight. I'm grateful and thankful, but yet we need to do better as a society. We need to lift each other up more. We only have so much time here on this earth, and then we're gone. We need to appreciate it and be grateful and show more gratitude for being here.
So, how did you go from doing these workouts on YouTube in your living room to going and running 6 miles? What other workouts have you done, or how long did it take for you to like go, I think I'm going to go for a run today?
Well, I lost the first 40-ish to 50 pounds first, and then I started running. I started like what I would call fast walking, and then jogging in intervals around the track at the local high school. I would do some
Hmm.
at the park too, do bleacher workouts. I would get to a point where I would do a little bit, and then I stopped, do a little bit, until where I finally got to where that first time I was not jogging, but I was running a mile, and I was like, I'm actually doing this. Like, the doctors told me I shouldn't, and the doctors told me I couldn't, because I had a 2 herniated disc in my back, 3 bulging discs, and I had the lower starting arthritis. They told me I shouldn't do this. So I was thinking to myself, I'm really just, do I have a setback or do I have a comeback? What's this going to look like for me? And I
Oh, I
just
love
knew.
that. Setback or a
And
comeback. That's a good one.
right. And the endorphins were just like all over the place. It was a beautiful day. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this. And I went out there the next day, did a little bit more. And then I got to where I was at a good 3 miles a day. And then I picked it up and thought, I want to do something more. I'd do 4 miles. And I finally got up to 6 miles a day. And I thought, you know what? This is great. I was doing bleacher workouts, running at the park, running down the driveway. And then I also incorporate 6 days a week lifting weights, not heavy weights, but lifting weights. I went and got
Mhm.
kettlebells, dumbbells, resistance bands, and I do everything in my own home.
That is fantastic. And what about your diet now? So tell me, what's a typical day? Like, what do you eat? I'm always
Um,
fascinated by people's diets because I
well,
started doing it.
a typical day would be, I get up in the morning, usually around 3:30 to 4 o'clock every morning, and I get my coffee. I do a little bit of unsweetened vanilla almond milk with some vital proteins, and which I love that type of collagen. I've been taking collagen for 5 years. I think it does a remarkable job on my joints, and it's helping with my hair, and my skin, and just overall. I do that every morning, and then I do my strength training, and then I'll go ahead and go out for my run. usually running with a headlamp, especially this daylight savings time is still pretty dark out when I go running. So I usually, put my headlamp on. I also run with a weighted vest. I have a 20 pound weighted vest that I put on that I run with. And then
Wow.
that was something that I picked up around 6 months ago. I wanted a little bit more endurance and something a little bit more challenging for my workouts. And I thought, well, you know what? I had this really great friend who was running with a weighted vest. And I thought, you know what? I may not be able to do as much as them, but I'm going to go ahead and get a weighted vest. And I tried it, did an 8 pound west, 8 pound, a 12 pound, and then went up to 20 pounds. It's a remarkable workout. And then I come in, I usually make me some eggs, a little bit of turkey bacon or turkey sausage. Usually have like a whole wheat piece of toast, or I'll have some yogurt with some granola. I'll have a snack of either yogurt, cottage cheese around 10:30. Lunch, I'll have some tuna. I'll have some veggies. I'll either have a protein shake. I'll have another snack around mid-afternoon, around 2 or 3. Then I have my dinner, which usually consists of meat. I always try to incorporate protein in everything that I eat, including all my snacks. I stay away from a lot of the white flours and the rices and things like that. But I usually try to get around 120 to 130 grams of protein in a day. I still pretty much track my food only because I like the fact of knowing what is going on my fork. It's very important for me to know that I'm staying consistent with what I'm eating and eating the healthiest I can. I do eat a little bit more carbs than I used to because I burn more carbs for my runs, so I have to have that energy. I pretty much fuel my body like a car. I have all the nutrients that I need it to run. If it's lacking something, it's not going to run properly. So I know I need to go ahead and do better on some days. And I've just been able to carry that with me throughout my journey.
We are going to take another commercial break. I'm Christina Flach. I'm Too Busy, and we are chatting with Dana Bradley. We'll be right back.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, I'm Christina Flach. We are chatting with Dana Bradley about her transformation of 157 pounds. We were just chatting about hydration because everyone knows I'm obsessed with green juice and water, and it's amazing the difference in one's skin. And I was just curious if you had been doing, drinking the green juice and having the water, and of course you're doing all those good things. All right, we got to hear what inspired you to compete for Miss Alabama International? That is a big deal.
Well, my mom, I grew up watching, Miss America, Miss Teen USA. I grew up watching all those things with my mom. We would sit down and we would look and see who would we pick for the top 10, who the prettiest dresses. That was kind of like one of our things we did. And that one of the memories I will have with my mom. And after I lost a lot of weight and I started posting pictures and stuff online, I had a photographer friend who took my daughter's pictures and stuff for her baton and stuff. And he said, you've had an amazing transformation. He said, you need to do a pageant, because he's very big into pageantry and very big into taking pictures of pageant women. He's like, you need to do it. He's like, you just need to. And so I started, I asked him, I said, I don't even know where to start.
What was your reaction when he said that? What was your reaction?
I was like, wow, like he's in the pageant world and he thinks I have a chance at doing a pageant. I'm like, wow, this is like, okay. I was really kind of shocked, but that's something I would never have thought of. So I started researching Mrs. pageants, and I came across the Mrs. International pageant and what it was. I wanted something that was platform based, because I wanted to be able to bring my health and wellness platform, to a larger audience. And I remember connecting with the director and applying for it. And I sent her in a picture, and we got to talking. We did several interviews. And she said, I have several applicants from your area that have, been survivors of cancer and things like that. There's a lot of great platforms out there. What makes you want to do a pageant? And, and I said, my mom and I used to watch them, when I was a kid. And I never really had the self-esteem or thought that I was beautiful or pretty enough to be able to do one of those. But, here, a photographer friend had kind of reached out and said, you know what? I think you ought to. So this is where I am, and this is what I've done. And she said, well, she's like, what kind of transformation? And I sent her pictures of my transformation, and she's like, whoa, this is something I've never seen before. And so I went through many interviews and many different calls, and she said, well, we will let you know what we comes down to, because they didn't actually have a pageant set up in my area. Everything was through interview, through things that we have talked about. And I got the selection in September, and I will never forget. She said, we have chosen you to represent your state. And I was like, wow, like this is crazy. And she said, you'll be going to nationals in July. And I was supposed to go to nationals July 27th, which was my daddy's birthday. And I thought, how ironic is it that the national pageant falls on my dad's birthday? I was like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? But I remember getting my crown and my sash, and I was like, this is crazy, because I never thought this was something that would be possible for me. And I started to own it. I thought, you know what? I went through my journey. I've lost 157 pounds through diet, of being healthy, eating, lifestyle changes. I deserve this. This is something I want to do. This is something God has brought me to. And I held so much gratitude. And I just, it was just, to me, it was a dream come true, because I never thought that after losing 157 pounds, that a 284 pound woman and a woman who was, 46 would have ever been chosen to represent her state. Out of the many, many wonderful women they could have chosen, they chose me.
So what was that like when you got to the nationals there? And did you think you had a chance, or did you think oh, this is just fun, but there's no way?
Well, I actually resigned my crown 3 months before nationals, and I was lacking support. It was getting to the point where it was really hurting my mental health. I didn't have support within my family. They didn't want me doing the pageant. And I have to speak honestly about that, because that is part of my journey. I thought, well, if they can't support me, then why am I going on here to a national stage? I can't put on a facade And a lot of things were going on in the pageant world. They were, talking to me about deadlines and things that were not, disclosed to me early on. I was getting worried because, I had some sponsors, but it was going to cost me a whole lot more money than I had. And my kids, in fact, were in college. I had one in college already, and I had one fixing to go to college. And I thought to myself, it would be selfish for me to go through with it and take away from my daughter and my son who are going to college. Here they have an opportunity that I never had. And how dare I take that away from them by benefiting myself and going to this pageant? So I thought about it real long and hard. And though it was hard to give up, I'm glad I had a chance to do it. And I knew my reasons why. But people came to me and they're like, you know what, that must have been that's the bravest thing anyone's ever done. I had lots of women from the pageant world reach out to me and say, you know what you did was remarkable, and you gave up a dream for your kids. And that's pretty much what I did. I love them with all my heart, and I would do anything for them.
Oh,
So I had to. And at least I know that they can go on and succeed with their careers. And I didn't want to take from them. I've been told I've been selfish for my journey and wanting to lose weight. And it's hard because I'm anything but that.
it's amazing how people project these things onto you. And I also feel like when someone's telling you that, it's really none of their business. And I think it's so admirable as a mother that you did this. First of all, you're giving your kids, we can always say like, oh, you should be healthy and do all these things, but you're setting an amazing example. You're setting an amazing example also of turning your life around, that it's never too late. And
Right.
that's a real gift that for your kids. And so, and also someone saying that you're selfish, says who? Like, sometimes those are the kind of people that you just need to remove from your life because they sound really toxic and really cruel, quite frankly. And I've known you for an hour, and I know that you aren't selfish. And you know what? It takes a lot of discipline and work to do all the things that you've done and accomplished. And why shouldn't you? And I also feel that self-care is the greatest gift that you can give to anyone because you're a way better mother, friend, wife, everything, because you're giving that yourself that, few hours in the morning to work out and eat well, all those things. You can do so much more for everybody else. So it's the farthest thing from selfish.
Right. And, it hurts when it comes from the closest people to you. But at the same time, not everybody is going to adjust to your journey and know why you did certain things. And I will always go back to why I started my journey. I
Right.
wanted to add some more years onto my life so that I could see my kids grow up. And so giving up the crown, which I was told I was I was very it was going to be very competitive for others to compete against me because of my transformation and my platform. And I think I could have had a really good chance. I'll never know, but I feel
I
that
wish
many.
I would have known you. I would have never allowed it.
I think God opens doors on His timing, and I think He also closes those doors. And I felt like at that night that He closed that door for a reason, to better me for things ahead. So I trust in Him. I have faith in Him where it was lost for a long time after the passing of my mom. But over the years and through my journey, I learned to have hope. That hope heals, and I've learned to have a greater faith spiritually.
What was your first New York Fashion Week experience like? How did that happen? Do you have an agent, or how did that
No,
happen?
it was completely amazing. When I was in the pageant, I went to a local formal store, and the owner there hooked me up with a couple dresses and a couple shoes from this designer, and I modeled the shoes there, and I tagged him in a post, and he connected with me, and he started talking about, the pageant, and about how he was doing New York Fashion Week, and we got to be friends. And he's like, you really should walk New York Fashion Week. He's like, you've earned it. The transformation is remarkable. And he offered the opportunity for me to walk Fashion Week. And I was like, I told my friend, that was the first person I told, and she's like, you've got to go, because she loves New York. So you've got to go. I'll go with you. You've got to go. Nobody's talking you out of this. You're going to Fashion Week. And
That's a good friend.
I'm like, me, a model? And she's like, yeah, you're going to do this. And I did. I got there at Fashion Week. It was actually it was a few days after my birthday. And it was almost kind of like the greatest birthday gift ever. And I remember going into the fitting in the fitting room with the designer and my friend, and him handing me two outfits for me to try on. These were things I would never have worn, the colors. I was like, well, I'm just a hanger for his designs. And went ahead, and he gave me these high heels, blinged out high heels. They were tall, and I thought, oh my gosh, are you trying to end my running days? Because I'll never be able to walk in these. And we had about 5 minutes to walk to practice that day, and I did well for the first time, and the second day approached where where it was going to be showtime. And I remember that very first. That first morning, I was just nervous. It was runway day. I was like, I just need to pray and hopes I don't fall out there, because everybody's going to be watching. And here I am, never being on the runway. I needed to act like I knew what I was doing to be there.
It's true.
You see all these young models who are in their 20s, and it's like, here you are, nearing 50, and you're walking the runway. It's like, wow, do I belong here? I'll never forget, they lined us up. We all got our hair and makeup done. It was just a glamorous experience, a rushed experience, but glamorous experience. And I remember the music blaring in the background, and I started crying. And everybody's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm more than okay. I've had this remarkable journey, and I feel like this is another reward of my journey. I'm getting to walk New York Fashion Week. Here I am modeling clothes. This is something that is completely out of my comfort zone, and I never would have thought about being here. I remember just hearing that music and being pumped up, and here just the tears were flowing down my face. I was like, am I messing my makeup up? Am I messing my makeup up? They're like, no, you're good, you're good, you're good. And everybody's like, are you fine? Are you fine? And I said, I'm more than okay. It was just one of those moments that I nobody could ever feel but me. And it was like I went through all this stuff in my life and through my journey and obstacles, that here I am on the runway. I am in backstage fixing to walk out and model my designer's clothing. I'm like, this is like a huge moment for me, because I
That's
never.
amazing. We are going to be right back in 1 minute with Dana to finish hearing about this story at New York Fashion Week. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Mike Zorich, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorich, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorich has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Welcome back. We are chatting with Dana about her amazing transformation. Dana, what is your message to people who think that they're too old to change? What would you say to them?
That's an excuse. We're never too old. We all have something inside us. We need to find out what that is and go ahead and bring it forward and do it. We're only here for a certain period of time on this earth, and we need to go ahead and take every advantage of it.
Right. How do you define success now versus before your transformation?
Success to me is being able to do what I've accomplished by not giving up, having determination, having the focus, consistency, and diligence and the resilience and courage to just move forward. People can go ahead and define success in different ways. People can have success in their marriage. People can have success in their careers, in journeys. And I feel like I've had a remarkable success with having a transformation and getting healthy and becoming a health coach.
I love that. Where's your happy place?
My happy place is when I have my running shoes on and my feet are hitting the pavement. That's my happy place. It's where I get clarity.
Listen to music when you run?
I do. I listen to music. My favorite song of all times, and one that is very, very important in my journey, is "Don't Stop Believing," and it's from Journey. That's my number one song. That if someone could say, "What is the song of your journey?" that would be it.
Well, I'm going to tell the writer, Jonathan Cain, who wrote that song, is my daughter's godfather.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
I will relay that message to him, Jonathan Cain. What do you do when your day is not flowing?
What do I do when my day is not flowing? I usually journal. I usually pause, breathe, and relax, and just take in the moments that I can do that. I get overwhelmed a lot. I do a lot of things throughout the day, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom, which I don't have any kids anymore here. I'm an empty nester, but I do health coach people into healthy lifestyles. But I just basically, sometimes I'll get in my car and I'll go for a ride and go to the grocery store, and just there's just a peace upon my life of just being able to get out there and live life. I was behind closed doors forever and sitting in a recliner, taking power naps all day, just being tired of being tired. And now being able to get out and do all these things, I'm not taking life for granted. I was only given one, and
How do you spoil yourself?
I like to go get my nails done, and I like to get my feet done. I take good care of my feet because I run, and my feet pretty much carry me. And so I get pedicures and manicures when I can, and those are kind of my rewards for myself, and just to have a little bit of me time.
What do you see? Where do you see your life in the next 5 years? What are your new goals that you've set for this coming 5 years or this coming year?
My new goals, I want to have my book, and I want it to be a survival guide for someone who is struggling, whether they're having grief or whether they're in their weight loss journey or whether they're in a journey itself in their life. I want them to be able to pick that book up and read and go, you know what, because I read her story, I'm not giving up today. I would love to be able to be on a stage and motivational speak and be able to speak to many men and women and let them know that it's never too late to be able to own your dreams, take charge of your life, and it's never too late. I also, I would love maybe to get into modeling, maybe have a documentary, or you know, maybe a little show of some kind. I don't know. Maybe another pageant in the future. Basically, my main thing is my book and being able to motivational speak. I want to be able to carry others to the next stage of their life.
I love that. Do you have special skincare that you do now, or do you have makeup that you love? Like, you've learned to do your makeup, obviously, being in the pageant world.
Yeah,
You're like the best makeup artist.
I love wearing makeup now. I used to not wear very much at all. I just felt like my face wasn't pretty enough to be able to wear it. After you lose weight, there's a lot of features that come out that you never knew you had. Jaw bones and cheekbones, and your eyes start opening wider. Your smile gets bigger. I use Skin Medica, and I use just a good cleanser, a good toner. I do a serum on my face at night, and I have this little $30 roller that I use on my face, that I emphasize on my jaw. I have a lot of people that come at me and think I've had a lot of work done on my face because they think that just because you lose weight, you look saggy. And you don't have to look like a California raisin, and you don't have to have the saggy skin when you lose weight if you take care of yourself and eat proper nutrition. I've just learned how to use better skincare. And though I haven't had anything done to my face yet or anything, I hope that I don't have to. The wrinkles are going to come. And if they do, they do. I'll age gracefully with them. But I kind of found the fountain of youth through good skincare and eating better. And I love I love a light makeup. I don't like to cake it on, but I love a dewy look, and I love a nice blush, and I love to be able to do my eyebrows. I get a lot of compliments on my eyebrows, and I don't really wear a lot of eye makeup. I do wear false extensions on my lashes because they make my eyes look a little bit wider. And there's something I would never do for myself back in the day to take care of myself. But some days I wear makeup, some days I don't. But I do like to glam up some and be able to give myself a different look. Most
I
of the time in
love
the
that.
morning, I'm sweating.
Yes. What question did I not ask that you would like to share with me today?
Oh, gosh, we went over, kind of a lot there. Um, I think people are overcome with fear. They overthink the impossible, and I didn't have to take to heart the death sentence that I got that day at the doctor, but I'm glad I did. Um, did I think I'd look a lot different after the transformation?
Did you
No.
think that you were going to ever get to this? I mean, did you think that you were just trying to get to a healthy place? Or, I mean, did you ever think you were going to be a beauty queen?
No, I mean, I was always one of these that was always picked last. I was always one of these that was, all the girls were prettier than I was in school and stuff. And here, I was like, yeah, I'm just a mom. I'm just going to lose some weight. And then I start seeing things progress differently. And it wasn't until pretty much the second year of my transformation, I started seeing everything change. And people were saying, well, gosh, your skin is so beautiful. Your hair is so beautiful. You're so well put together. Are you a model and stuff? And I was like, people are asking me this outside in public. I'm like, this is crazy. But I never thought about vanity reasons. Never did I think for one instance about vanity during my journey. It was all strictly for health and wellness. I had to be healthy, and there were so many benefits that came with me changing my lifestyle that portrayed outward. Um, I can't explain it. I don't know how God, imagined this would happen for me. I never thought it would happen this way, but I'm very grateful. I was, I could have died when I had a stroke, and I didn't. And it's like God gave me a new lease on life and said, here it is, don't blow it. And I'm taking every opportunity, running with the doors that are opening wide open. And I just want to have that legacy for my kids. that, when they look back at their mom, they can say, my mom went through all of this. There was a lot of obstacles for her to overcome. And you know what? My mom never gave up. And I want that to be the legacy that they carry on with them and their kids and their grandkids in the years to come.
I want to thank you so much for being here. You're such an inspiration. I hope everyone that listens to this today gets inspired from beauty on the inside out and to change your life. It is never too late. You just need to take that first step and step forward, and it'll all unravel. And, dream big and love bigger. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you. Appreciate having me.
This has been I'm Too Busy with host Christina Flach. Tune in each week as Christina approaches the concept of success holistically, recognizing that achievement is not solely measured by financial triumphs, but also by maintaining a healthy work-life balance and focusing on self-care. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.